What I just discovered was unprecedented. This slot may not actually use Wooper that much. Meryl has been pretty consistent too. But let me tell you, if I reset now, it's gonna just non-stop show Wooper and Wooper and Wooper, but I've been through like 7 trials at least. Yeah. Here I am, trying to attempt to do this challenge cup. Oh boy, what are you doing? Come on. Oh, this is getting unresponsive. Come on, respond. There we go. As you can see, the most changes I can do to Challenge Cup are just the trainer portraits. It does weird things though. For instance, if the portraits are there, it will change the nicknames to whichever portrait's there, but since gym leaders don't have nicknames, they actually fit quite well in Challenge Cup. And there's the Wooper. And there's the Meryl too. Watch. What I'm gonna do is several minutes worth of resets. Meryl and Wooper. I don't know why he has the Meryl. Well, it's a water type, obviously, but it's probably the worst water type of the bunch. Wooper at least makes sense. It walls the electric types. Yeah, this is the Pokeball tier. So the good water types like Staryu, Tentacool, you're not gonna see those here. What I'm trying to do is figure out a way to actually change the sort of randomizations here. Meryl again. Okay, I know from a guide, from an IGN guide from a user, said that he was especially annoyed with the appearance of Wooper and Ultra Ball as Quagsire. This used to be the Fisherman slot. So, Fisherman Pokemon. That's why Misty kind of fits here. Previous ones, yeah, there's Wooper. I'm trying to, there's no wild cards here. Erika takes the place of the really annoying guitarist, my pet peeve of the Challenge Cup. The guitarist and Erika always has Mareep, Pichu, and Magnemite. Just like Misty always has Wooper and Meryl. The first trainer always has a pool of 10 Pokemon. Mixture of ground types, fire types, pretty much all of them. And a Wooper. Wooper's pretty common. It's like Wooper is in its own slot. I'm serious, this thing is becoming silly in how much Wooper appears here. Remoraid, oh, this is a pretty nasty water type team set though. Seal is actually rather strong for a low tier water type. Remoraid is pretty dangerous too, it's got the offenses. Squirtle can do Mirror Coat, yes. Yes, and that's something you have to watch out for. You use Giga Drain, Mirror Coat, you're dead, you lose a Continue. Totodile is not that bad. Hidden Power is generally not used here. No rest, that means no sleep talk stalling, so in a way, it's a little faster. You do get crappy moves though. Watch, Meryl and Wooper will appear again. What I just showed you before was really unprecedented, not showing Meryl or Wooper. There's Wooper and Meryl again. Guess what else? Meryl and Wooper is going to reappear again. My initial plan for Challenge Cup was to change the whole tier. Because otherwise I have no reason to use stuff like a Zoomeril and... Maybe I could do it in the academy. It's kind of sad though that I have to resort to this. But hey, gym leaders have Gym Leader Castle, so Challenge Cup will go here. But then what about the trainers here? The gentleman in the Master Ball has this godlike AI. Marilyn Wooper again. Falkner is interesting. The slot for Trainer 3, which is the Picnicker, has 4 flying types. However, he has 2 wild cards that really vary. Usually it's like some ground type or an electric, but you get weird shit like Dratini and Drowsy, which shocks me. There's Wooper again. Actually, I'm gonna go... Yep, that's right, I'm using save states if you couldn't already tell. Slot 6. There is Erika, who's the guitarist, technically. Yeah, and it always has Magnemite, Mareep, and Pichu, the only electric types in the tier. Magnemite is way too powerful here. It's got the steel typing. Yellow Chikorita. So the colors do vary based on nicknames. Let's go see what... Yeah. And also the weird thing is, when you reset the pool, it always sets up... It has the same nicknames, really, but the colors change completely differently. So I don't know what they did here with the nicknames. I already made a list of all the possible grass types that appear. That's really the only difference. I'm just staring, Oh yes, the other thing is, I guess in round 1 your IVs are much higher than the enemies. The AIs I believe can be changed, but I haven't tested what would happen. Got the mouse in there. I haven't tested what would happen if you change the groups, like guitarist group, or the name. I don't know if that affects the slots. Because there's gotta be some kind of trigger that I'm not sure about. This video is mostly for those like in Skitendo or GitHub to... I'm trying to see if I could get some help in disassembling Challenge Cup of a sort, either through ASM or through Python. But here's what can be done here. You can change the gym leaders based on the patterns here. You know, like, in slot 8. I'm gonna put blue. Because that one has varied teams. Pichu, Mareep, Magnemite. All the time. And Sunkern. Okay. I know you have to put Sunkern somewhere, but wow, like, this is the weakest Pokemon in the whole tier. No Caterpies, no Magikarps, no Unknowns even. And you put it in the same league as Oddish? Paris? Yes, Paris has its uses. I don't know why on earth this is in the slots, but God help you if you got that instead of, like, Execute, which, believe it or not, can survive in the NU tier pretty well. It can take on things like Sunflora, Tangela, and Parasect. Well, maybe not Parasect in Power Bug. I'm gonna go... once more. I'll show you the sets. The Rocket, I'm going to see if I put in Pokeball Janine and an Ultra Ball Koga, because Koga's Elite 4, Janine is a gym leader. Not really gonna do round 2, like, the unevolved makes sense for an unevolved child to the fully evolved adult Koga. And Falkner. Oh, Falkner. The picnicker. You're gonna laugh if you see some of the slots. Yes, I'm kind of abusing save states here. I'm just doing some testing, really. But in order to do a complete test, I have to beat the whole game. There's no two ways about it. Look at this, random grimer. I'm gonna have to add that to the list, but it seems like it's purely wild cards whenever... But one thing's consistent. You have bird 1, bird 2, flying type 3, flying type 4, Hoppip and Ladybug, though sometimes it's birds or Zubat. There's Sandshrew for the electrics, makes sense. I guess for grounds, if they're trying to get Grimer, you switch to the flying types. Watch, this is gonna get crazy. Falkner. Diglett, of course, and Nidoran female. So we always seem to have Hoppip and Ladybug for some reason. I don't know if there's differences there, but there's definitely wild cards in the mix. I'm waiting to see if Dratini appears or Drowsy. Those things, especially Drowsy, is something I feel doesn't belong in the tier, although the nerf to the special attack didn't help. There's Bulbasaur. And... okay, 3-verse. Okay, so it's not 2 non-normal flying types. It's definitely 4 flying types from a certain pool, and the rest come from this, for example, these 2 wild cards, same with this. I'm guessing that's the pattern. I'm showing these videos off to see if someone might be inspired. Someone, anyone. This is the reason why I'm not doing any hack here. There it is, Drowsy. Like, what the hell? The reason why I'm not comfortable at all with Drowsy in the tier is that there are no ghost types and there are no dark types. So that thing is actually really dangerous in this whole tier. That makes Battle 6 really obnoxious and annoying. Because not only do they have Psychic types, they use Swagger, and unlike other cups, you can't use customized Pokemon, you can't use Bitter Berries. So Swagger is actually at its most effective here. That's why I hate Challenge Cup Ultra Ball. I really hate that tier. Look in tropes, and you'll see that entry being that one side quest in Pokémon Stadium. That's SinisterHoodedFigure's entry right there. Because I've played through this with experience. You wanna know how many tries it took me in round 2 just to get past Ultra Ball? It took me a whopping 37 tries, and I had a Skarmory. And you know Skarmory walls like a good portion of the tier. If you want to survive Ultra Ball a bit, get Skarmory, but that's no guarantee for the 7th battle. Because of that goddamn Grand Ball with Thunderbolt and Hyper Beam and flinching moves. Oh, by the way, Battle 7, totally gonna be Whitney because I'm evil that way. But Whitney will also appear in the Master Ball and Great Ball decisions. Yes. They will all appear in the Great Ball, Master Ball decisions. Divisions is what I meant to say. More resets. Just to see all the kinds of Pokemon that could appear there. Seriously, these are some weird choices. One of the reasons why I wanted to change to the Fisherman is to add a Dratini to the mix because I'm evil that way. I don't know, maybe he does it in round 2. I'm only in round 1 because I just started. And I don't want anyone spilling the beans to anyone, because I don't want to get a cease and desist. Yeah, look at this. Though there's always seemed to be at least 2 flying normal types. I guess I'll stop as soon as I run into Dratini. Now see, Oddish and Geodude, that's normal. Like, that's what you expect a picnicker to kinda have, in a way. And that's what makes her a bit more dangerous than the previous 2 trainers. Because the previous 2 trainers, oh yeah, the first trainer was supposed to be a camper. I changed it to the youngster because I want to see this youngster have Rattata, Eradicate, and Pokeball and Ultra Ball tier changes. I really want to know how Challenge Cup works. I really do. That's why I'm proposing this private video to anyone that seems interested in Skitendo or Poke Community. Yeah, Drowsy seems to be somewhat a tiny bit consistent. I really don't know. Don't ask me how I managed to change all the names. There's a disassembly for that. But that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is changing what appears there. For example, if I want in the 3rd slot to have like a certain set of types or just a certain set of teams, I will have them. Because look at Misty. Look at Misty. She always has the Wooper and Meryl, it seems. Well, 90% always. I'm really shocked that she didn't have Wooper and Meryl at one point. Seriously. Pay close attention. You'll see Wooper and Meryl appear every time. That's what I want to change in Challenge Cup. The teams, the slots, whatever pools there might be. Moves? There has to be some level of restrictions in regards to the moves. I know there is because you don't see Recover on teams, you don't see Rest, you don't see Snore even. So I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know why there's so much noise outside either. I really don't like that. Let's see, one more check to see Wooper here. Ugh, I hate the new location. There's Slowpoke, there's Seal. This is not a nice team to go up against. Now, slots. Let's see what slot 3 has here. Challenge Cup. As you can see, there's a youngster here. It's supposed to be a camper. But you're going to see something interesting here. Yeah, see, Camper Marcus, that was changed. Look at this. The nicknames have completely changed here. They're completely different from Losantru and, oh god, Sunkern? No, no way in hell. And yes, your team resets, it always seems to have, there's no fire types, what? And there's grass type, yeah. That's technically your water type. It doesn't count really as a ground type. And that's not the best kind of water type. If you're looking for a water type for water power, Wooper may not be the best choice, but the good news is, if you're in dire need of a water type, the only time you'll need to use it is in this battle, because he has mostly water-weak teams here. Fire, 4x weaknesses, and the unique ground type, which is either Swinub or Wooper. At least that's what it seems. And no, you don't. The other thing I want to change here are the moves. I don't want to be getting stuff like rollout or magnitude or dig. Definitely not dig. I want to be getting stuff like earthquake and all that. Look at this. See, it's been pretty consistent so far over there. Slugma is actually not completely terrible as a fire type here. I mean, it is a fire type, and you get Fire Blast. You're gonna have to play with the dice. I mean, someone has already figured out the disassembly for Pokémon Stadium on how the AI could work, and apparently, well, let's just say, save states during battle isn't gonna help you at all. As soon as you put your 3 Pokemon out there, your RNG is perfectly set. So there's some clues, some indication that the AI may indeed cheat, at least in Pokémon Stadium 2. In Pokémon Stadium 1, no. Because I have played around with all the different AIs, and there have been times where the AI has gone to my favor instead. Go look at the salt trolling and you'll see hacks can get infinitely worse to anyone. It's just from sheer numbers. It's a bit more fair than Battle Tower, I've heard, in terms of how they set the teams. Or it could be just the sheer amount of numbers going on. The sheer number of battles you face, you're bound to run into a bad team. There's a lot of bias for players. There's the Wooper. Yeah, I've noticed it never has Swinub and Wooper in the same team, as far as I've seen. Now, let's see what the Rockets, the evil Rockets, have. And that's actually one clue that I think it is possible to edit the... I don't think I saved the state there. Okay, I saved the state here. So we battle Team Rocket, which in Challenge Cup it did catch me by surprise when I did it as a first trainer. I didn't expect them to be competitors. What surprised me again is in round 2, they're full-blown executives there. So a common occurrence is Nidoran male, Nidoran female, grass types, and bug types here. So it's a perfect setup for Janine and Koga here. In round 2, they're especially fond of using Toxic like Koga does, though Double Team is worse. However, since this is Challenge Cup and you don't have Rest, you don't have Heal Bell, you almost never have Substitute. You're vulnerable to stuff like Toxic. Although, I'm not sure in Stadium 2 itself that if you switch, Toxic reverts to normal Poison, which if it does, then Poison just sucks in general. The only reason why it's even considered is that it works well with spikes in terms of switching. You switch in, you take damage, you switch in, you always take damage, but if you kill something and you're poisoned, you're not taking damage from the poison. So there's Zubat, also one of the worst Pokemon ever in the Pokeball division. Grimer could be kind of strong, because here's the thing, Grimer never ever appears in Petite Cup, because it's a Pokemon that's heavier than you'd expect. It's a heavy pile of sludge and oil and gas. There's Venonat, another Pokemon that doesn't appear, because it's also a pretty hefty bug here. Apparently Venonat is as tall as a Nidoking in this game, which just shocks me to no end at how tiny Nidoking is. Now, one of my changes in the tiers is that it's going to be my own set of tiers, not to Smogons. Like, Smogons is just a guide. I'm also going to be considering Nintendo Cup's tier list in terms of team creation, because Electrode, believe it or not, is very, very high tier in 3 versus 3 because of Explosion, because of Light Screen, Paralysis. I mean, it ranks higher than Raikou. Freaking Raikou in Gen 2, which is like the 3rd strongest Pokemon in Gen 2 OU. Because like it's the only Zapdos counter that 100% beats it. Everything else, like every other potential soft counter, even Snorlax is not exactly the safest Zapdos counter. Because if Zapdos runs Thunder, those Thunders are gonna eat through the special defense. Surprisingly enough and insultingly enough, Pikachu is actually higher tier than Raichu in the Gen 2 metagame. Mostly because it actually has power compared to Raichu. Its speed is not so bad, like most things are slow in this generation. And everything's cursing like a sailor. Speaking of which, I'm actually planning to move the Sailor into Pokécup because it can use Machamp, and Machamp is ultra deadly in Gen 2. It's not just because it really scares Snorlax, but it's probably the most uncounterable Pokemon in the whole game. That's why Bruno is so terrifying. Like, you have a Psychic type, you get hit by a Hidden Power Ghost or Hidden Power Bug. You have a Nidoking or Poison type Tread Wallet, Earthquake. Flying type, Rock Slide. Oh, Exeggutor can check. Nah. Hidden Power Bug. Oh, normal attack, Cross Chop, and Cross Chop just eats through so many weaknesses. So many common types are weak to Machamp. You want to use a Steelix and Tyranitar? We have to watch out for a Suicune anyway, but Cross Chop is not pleasant, and it's not a good mix with Snorlax either. So it's my surprise that I got my ass whooped in the first try with the Pokemaniac in round 2 Master Ball. Because it wasn't Snorlax that got me, it was the Machamp. I was using stuff like Lapras and Snorlax in the past. So as you can see here, it's been pretty consistent with poison types. That's what I want to change. I want to change what appears in these battles. These aren't totally random. Okay, sure, the moves are pretty random, but there's a pattern to this. And I want to change the patterns. That's my proposal here. If we can change the patterns that appear in the AI's team, and change whatever movesets that appear on the teams there. For instance, like Bite, Sludge Bomb, Earthquake. Like, you don't want to put Water Gun here. It always seems to have some level of pattern. Swagger, that's offense. Protect, that's defense. Magnitude is stab, since it's a signal type. Slash is like a backup move. Ekans, similar vein. Actually, maybe Bite is the flinching move. That's the... what is it called? Status. Okay, that's bullshit, first off. These attacks, that makes the third trainer really dangerous. Because she actually has 3 attacks. What else? Thunder Wave, that's status. Endures defensive. Roll out Magnemite. That's the one thing you do not want to do, because you want Magnemite to be able to switch. There's a Rain Dance strat. There is Fire Blast Toxic strat. So there's that. Execute's pretty okay. Even with Confusion, Execute's not that bad. You don't want to get like an Execute with Solar Beam and no Thief. Thief is interesting. Maybe it's like a status, technically. Or Confusion. Confusion. Oh my god, that's... No, that's Stab. That is Stab. You're always gonna have like 2 stab moves if you have dual types, unless you really don't have anything. So no steel type attack here. Same principle applies with all the others, though Zubat doesn't have poison attacks, technically, it might use toxic. I want to see if that can be changed too. So, back to Misty. Our good friend Misty here. The strategy for this team is Rain Dance, so why don't we actually go do a battle instead? There's Wooper and Meryl, which means Execute will be a Pokemon that I use constantly. If it's Rain Dance, there's a use for Magnemite. Now I shall utilize Wooper for once. Wooper, despite the really good typing here, has a really nasty set of weaknesses in stats, just stats. Now I have much higher IVs here. I don't know if this team's gonna do something like, what's it called? You'll never see synthesis in this, though. The policeman is very, very fond of Sunny Day, by the way. And the policeman also shot. Oh god. Look, see?
Here's the first move.
What makes the fisherman kinda dangerous also is the ice type moves that he has, so he's a step up in difficulty from the previous three. I wouldn't say he's as obnoxious as the fourth trainer, the guitarist, because Stun Spore is probably the worst type of status you ever want to deal with. I really, really hate paralysis. And there's a trainer that spams paralysis in a setup where you can't get safeguard. You can't get your own berries that you really, really want. Okay, Wooper's around, so I want to save that, like... No, just set up the Rain Dance. Set up the Rain Dance, please. And don't complain that I'm just gonna pretty much abuse save states if I lose here, because I just want to clear it. Because I'm trying to see if I can make some interesting change. What? Freeze Hex. I'm calling the freeze. Freaking Ice Beam. What the hell? Please set up Rain Dance like a dumbass. That's your main strategy. Oh no, that's worse. That is actually worse. I'm gonna be honest here, this is the toughest battle I've had so far. I just completely obliterated the previous trainers. Without even trying. Well, matchups aside.
Just one Pokemon remains.
I mean, I guess Challenge Cup isn't so bad in Pokeball, except maybe round 2. Great Ball, you're gonna have to think quite a bit, because of the gentleman and the kimono girl and the scientist. And that swimmer that spams a track. And there it is. Always, 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 always expect Wooper. When it's in the slot, it will always appear in battle. That's why you can't just run through the whole team with like Rain Dance, Thunder. You're gonna get cock-blocked really badly by Wooper here. But there's some good news. Wooper generally doesn't use ice moves. And it's not really fond of using water moves either. It's definitely more the ground user. Which means it's gonna have stuff like Earthquake. And down it goes. Okay, so it is Dig.
How will this newly switched out Pokemon fare?
So, I must wait. I must conserve PP. It's round 2 that probably utilizes the strategies even more. He'll go for Rain Dance in round 2 in Pokeball.
A hot battle is unfolding.
Now I should go for Giga Drain.
Go into battle.
There are no pseudo-legendaries in Challenge Cup. Oh, why about this? Well, it's pretty much done. And yeah, that's my proposal. That's why I'm really interested in changing Challenge Cup. I just showed off all the pools of Pokemon that will appear, especially Wooper, which means it's possible to set up a specific amount of Pokemon just to give a theme to the trainers. There's a pretty sizable overhaul that I want to do, but otherwise, I'll just have to settle for gym leaders. Who knows? It won't truly be Kaizo unless I find out some way. Don't expect me, if I get the cease and desist, well, you can forget about Pokémon Stadium 2 and hacks in general, because I'm never doing it again. But I'm doing this for fun. Because I just can't get it out of my system. But this is the last one. This one I want to be a magnum opus for the finale of SinisterHoodedFigure in terms of hacking, and then go straight to LPing. That's why I've been doing more LPs. So I'm gonna save here. I'm gonna show off that. I'm gonna just briefly show off the most obnoxious trainer, one of the most obnoxious ones. This crazy old lady here. Yeah, she's just laughing because look at this team. Look at all the psychic types around here. And there's a fighting type involved. It's probably just there to use swagger. This is annoying. This is immensely annoying. So, I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna show you that she does indeed use psychic types quite a bit. Though in Ultra Ball, she'll actually use stuff like Miss Drevis and Ghastly and Execute, Slowpoke, and Drowsy. With wild cards here. This is something, there's no not to here, which surprises me. Unless, oh no, do they actually consider not to Great Ball? I think they do. Which means I cannot put Will here. That means Sabrina is gonna have this tier. Okay, so instead of Will, it's gonna be Sabrina. Though I don't know if I'll be able to put Will in the other tiers. Just a brief moment in recording. And I'll see if I can change this to Sabrina. But it's a trade secret as to how I do it, unless you guys help me. So, in that case, I'll have to eventually create a Discord. So, we shall see. And we're back again. So now, we shall see what kind of changes we did here. Well, not really much changes. But you notice something there? I have no clue as to what to do with the previous, the first one, because there's no ground type gym leader here, and I'm not putting Bling there. I mean, come on. There's not enough rock types, so Brock isn't exactly the... Well, I might consider Brock, maybe. I do not know. Yeah, I'm noticing a pattern here. Oh wow, she actually does bring the Zubats. So Confused Ray is a thing. The thing that I'm asking for is a really good, authentic Challenge Cup editor. And only Challenge Cup editing, because I can do the rest with hex editing. It's long and tedious, yes, and the nicknames, it's another beast altogether. Slowpoke, Drowsy, Execute. That's been pretty consistent. The rest have been odd wild cards, it seems. This makes this one particularly dangerous, because psychic types are actually really tough. She'll use them when she can. She will foresee everything he tries to do. Ratata. Okay, so Execute, Drowsy, and Slowpoke, the only psychic types in the tier. And yet Natu is considered superior to such Pokemon. Although granted, Xatu is... No, Natu superior to these. Although Xatu is one of the top threats in NU. Surprisingly enough. Because when your dark types are Murkrow and Sneasel, yeah, Xatu's gonna be really threatening. Especially with Confuse Ray and Giga Drain. So, I don't think I have anything for Psychic types. I really don't. And this worries me. This worries me greatly because you have a water type, you have a grass type, and now you have a fire type. That's somewhat balanced as teams go. And she uses confusion, so she could be one of the hardest ones if you're real unlucky. Let's see if I can find a... Let's fish for an easier team to beat. Yeah, there's Janine. Let us begin. Spinarak, Hoot Hoot, Swinub. Fire weakness seems pretty good. I just have to be very mindful of the Slowpoke. And I think I can do it. I think I can pull it off, I just need to team up with Execute. And then there's the Hoot Hoot. Swinub is scary. The Swinub is rather scary. And then there's the Hoot Hoot. Which means I must bring in Magnemite. Just gotta keep it away from Swinub. Swinub's scary. So I can switch into Earthquakes at least.
Round 6 is about to get underway. Many trainers have fallen by the wayside, leaving just 8 to reach the quarterfinals.
Think of this as a similar to Giga Bowser. Oh no. Of course she brought Drowsy. Okay, so usually just Psychic type. Actually, I might have a counter in a way, and that's our good friend Execute. I just hope this thing doesn't backfire punch. This is worrisome because Psychic types also have pretty big move pools, especially the pure ones. And in Challenge Cup, it could use literally anything. Oh, it's straight up Psychic. Thankfully, his special attack is reasonably nerfed. I'm gonna spam Thief. Let's see if that does something. Does some damage. Oh, you are a turd. You're a real turd. I hope you know this. If it can't do the damage, it's just gonna Swagger. Look at this. Swagger, and I'm gonna switch. I do not, well, switching might not be the best choice. I think Giga Drain might actually do more damage. I should have realized this. Please be Bitterberry. Please be Bitterberry. No. Of course not. Well, what have you got? I hope to God that I can get through just one batch of confusion. Just one. I just need to see what this thing's gonna do. No, it's not gonna do. Usually what's it gonna do. I just hope it's not psychic. And you see?
What's this?
You see? This is why I don't like fighting Drowsies. Of course, this is one of the best movesets I've seen in Challenge Cup. So I'm in trouble. Okay, so I have a switch in. It's gonna be Charmander. Meaning Execute is no longer a viable counter.
The Pokemon appears with a cross.
You are a jerk. You're a jerk, because, see, Alakazam's moveset in Smogon is Psychic and Fire Punch, usually, and that's one of the better amounts of coverage you can get. Fire Blast or Toxic. I'm thinking Toxic, actually. It's a little bit more accurate than Fire Blast, just by a tiny little bit. I just need to get this thing... It's gonna have Poison Cure Berry, isn't it? Watch. Oh no. Wait. What? Are you joking? Are you joking? You have 3 full attacks. You completely violate the standard rules here. Wow. Wow, this drowsy. This is the cheapest thing I've seen so far. Well, it makes sense with Battle 6. I expect a lot of resistance. But freaking Dynamic Punch? So even if you max out Swaggers, you're still